Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. The goal of my YouTube channel is to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine. By using my fast cooking system, you can make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun. Home cooking will not be a chore, rather than it will be a pleasure. And this is the only way for you to make home cooking sustainable so that it can become a viable alternative to fast and ultra-processed foods. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate to you how to cook a pan-fried noodle dish. Now, this dish could be very effective in using in different type of cooking situations. Now, actually start out with something that is very simple, is with spaghetti pasta noodle, since it is always available on the supermarket shelf and it is relatively inexpensive. The way is that how you're going to make it applicable under different type of situations. The first thing that I'm going to show you is that how to boil pasta noodles in a wok. And it turned out that the wok is probably the best cooking utensil for boiling pasta noodles. The reason was very simple, because the wok is the perfect size. This is a Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok, and it fits the noodle perfectly. And on top of that, it has a huge capacity, so you can easily boil a traditional 2-pound box of noodles. And the end result is that you're going to have a lot of noodles. The question is that, what are you going to do with the noodles? Now, it turned out that using this method, another convenience way I discovered is that to stop the noodle from boiling is, instead of pouring the water out, you just transfer the noodles to a large bowl of cold water. And if you have this bowl in a colander, then after you put the noodles into the colander, it is very easy for you to drain the water. This makes it much easier. Now, the noodle turned out to be not only effective, of course, in making spaghetti meal, but it also can be used for all different kinds of dishes. There's no reason that you cannot use these noodles to make other type of cuisines that require noodles. And in this case, you can use these noodles to make chow mein, lo mein, or any other type of noodles that you would like. So for me, a lot of time, I will boil enough noodles that will last me for a week to 10 days. And these noodles actually have excellent shelf life if you store it in the refrigerator in a plastic container. And in fact, for certain type of dishes, this storage is essential to dry out the noodles. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to use these noodles to create a pan-fried noodle dish, which is extremely popular in southern part of China, and it's also one of my favorite noodle dish. And when it comes to stir-frying, all wok works pretty much the same. But woks are slightly different in their constructions, and some wok is much better for certain type of task. For example, you can use the wok for pan frying, and you can use the wok to do many other things. But in order to use wok for pan frying, it is good to have a wok that has a large bottom surface area. Now, the wok that I have been using as my everyday wok is a Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok. And the reason I really like this wok is because this wok has a large flat bottom surface area. In fact, it is about 7.25 inch across. Now, in the past, I have talked about this wok and I make a mistake and I say it is 9 inches, but it is not the case. It is 7.25 inch. I'm glad one of my friends pointed out to me of my mistake, and I apologize for that. However, this wok is really useful in the case to use as a small frying pan. Now, in this case, for the pan-fried noodles, this wok is essential. Now, if you use a round bottom wok, you do not have this flexibility. Now, a lot of people think round bottom wok actually works better. In many cases, it does work better if you have a wok stove. But most of us do not have a wok stove. And if you do use a round bottom wok, you need to use an adapter and put on your stove. And in this case, it really do not help very much in terms of the cooking efficiency. In fact, the efficiency is much less. A flat bottom wok is actually far more useful. And in this video, I'm going to demonstrate to you how a flat bottom wok is able to do a much better job, in this case, pan frying this spaghetti noodles. Now, this spaghetti pasta noodles has been in the refrigerator for about 24 hours. And usually during this time period, it's just like rice, the noodle will dry out. And that actually prevent them from stick and burn to the bottom surface of the wok. Now, of course, in this case, I have spot seasoned my wok using my spot seasoning method. This method is very efficient in creating a non-stick cooked surface. When you combine the two by having the noodles being dry out in the refrigerator for 24 hours or longer, together with season the wok well with my spot seasoning method, this stainless steel wok has no problem of the noodles stick to the bottom surface of the wok. So it is essential for you to understand when you season a wok, the best way to do it is that to season the wok just before you start to cook. And this way will guarantee you will have a non-stick cooked surface. And my spot seasoning method is very simple. All you have to do is to heat up the oil and let the oil to reach smoking point. And then you turn down the heat and you let the oil to smoke gently for about 15 seconds. And this is the time when the wok is being seasoned. And you can always test the effectiveness of your seasoning by frying egg in it. Now, frying egg is truly a gold standard to determine whether the wok has a non-stick cooked surface or not. If your egg sticks, well, quite clear, your wok is not having a good non-stick cooked surface. But if you find that your egg does not stick, you know your wok is good to go. Like in this case, as you notice that nothing sticks to the bottom surface of the wok. Now, there are a couple of things important for you to do right here is that one is that you need to continue to turn the noodles. And in this case, a pair of long handle tongs works extremely well. And second is that make sure you have enough oil. This will prevent the noodle from burning. And the third is that to adjust the heat. If your heat is too high and you do not stir fast enough, and of course, your noodle is going to burn. And if you want to stir slower, then lower your heat. But if you want to cook faster, of course, you can elevate your heat. But in this case, make sure you stir the noodle rapidly. Without any question, this pan-fried noodle dish is my wife's favorite way to eat noodles. She had it for the very first time in a Chinese restaurant in Chicago, and she loves it immediately. This dish is a Cantonese origin. It's mainly coming from the southern part of China. And you can use many different types of noodles to cook this dish. But most significantly is that this noodles has to be very dry, because otherwise it will stick to the bottom surface of the wok. Now, in most of the Cantonese restaurants, when they cook this dish, they use an egg noodles. And for a long time, I thought I can only cook this dish with egg noodles. But it turned out to be not the case. You can use many different kinds of noodles to cook this dish. And you can also use many different types of thickness. This is a spaghetti pasta noodles of normal thickness. But it also works very well if you use angel hair pasta noodles. It will give you a different culinary experience. Now, when you cook this dish, you will notice that as you continue to stir and fry, the noodles will start to crisp up. And the wonderful thing about this dish is that it will combine the texture of both the crispy, crunchy texture with the soft texture of the noodles. And the end result is that it provides an excellent culinary experience, give you that distinction in texture, which truly a unique experience. And this dish is extremely easy to cook once you know how to do it. And it is extremely flexible. And you can cook this dish to different level of how you personally prefer your preference. And this is a wonderful thing about home cooking. And this is part of the idea of flavor chasing, because texture is an important part of flavor. And so in this case, if you want it to be crunchier, you can cook it a bit longer. If you want it to be a little bit softer, or you want it to have a nicer mixture between the soft and the crunchiness, then you cook it a little bit shorter. The end result is that you can make adjustment to exactly the texture that you want. And because of this, it makes this dish much better if you cook it at home, because then you can control exactly how you like it. Now, as you see here, I'm giving you kind of a real time of the cooking process. I continue to toss the noodles, and you notice that some of the noodles start to get crisp up. Now, in our case, we do not like the noodle to be too crunchy. We want it to be a little bit crunchy and to give it a nicer distinction in texture. But we don't want it to be the point that we have to really bite on it. So now the noodle is almost done. It has reached the texture that we want. There's almost even a way for you to season this noodle dish. I'm going to start out with some oyster sauce. Again, this shows you the flexibility of oyster sauce. And then I'm going to top the noodles with some scallions. Now, the scallions is the green part of the scallion I cut up into small chunks, and it's great for garnishing noodle dish like this. And then I'm going to add something that to decorate the noodles, to enhance its appearance, as well as the sweet texture as well, is some sesame seed. I use a combination of white and black sesame seed. And finally, I'm going to just put a touch of hoisin sauce over it. As you can see, you can use many different approaches. And finally, I would like to demonstrate to you that when you apply all the methods that I suggested, nothing will burn and stick to the wok. Now, this actually we cooked for our dinner last night, and we really enjoy it. As I have mentioned to you earlier, this is one of my wife's favorite noodle dish. And we always cook together each evening, and it's one of the best time we have together. And when we cook something that we really enjoy, it makes a huge difference in our life. So I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine, so you can make it a viable alternative to fast and ultra-processed food. Believe me, eating at home has made tremendous difference in our life, and I think it will for you as well. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.